Hi, I'm Marshall. I'm the owner of Going Gear, and I'm here in our store in Smyrna, Georgia. Got a couple lights here I'm really excited to show you. Copper lights exclusive to Going Gear, the i3E-Cu and the S2-Cu. Alright, so here we are with the Olight S2-Cu, i3E-Cu, a couple of solid copper lights that we are the exclusive dealer on for North America. So pretty cool lights. I am kind of infatuated with copper right now, so you've seen a lot of copper stuff from me. If you follow our newsletter, we're working on some other copper lights, some copper knives, and all kinds of copper stuff. I'm kind of obsessed with copper right now, so I'm really excited about these two lights. I actually wanted to do a similar video when we had the S1 special editions, like the copper one that we had and then the brass ones. But we sold out of them so fast that by the time I had the video done, they were all gone. But as of the time of releasing this video, we have quite a few of both of these in stock. I ordered a lot, so hopefully we have enough to last us for a little while. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the packagings of these. So the S2-Cu actually comes sealed. So this thing comes with a seal around it, like a cellophane wrapper around it. And you got this little fabric piece that helps you open it up. Nice classy looking packaging, just super simple on the front. Not a ton of info on it, but it's kind of nice because this is meant as a kind of high-end gift light. So there is the S2-Cu. Solid copper body, has a pretty decent heft to it. Not something that's going to be uncomfortable to carry or anything like that, but definitely has more weight than the regular S2 that's made out of anodized aluminum. Other than the solid copper body, the aluminum one and the copper one are pretty much the same thing. So they have the same LEDs, same specs, take the same battery. Obviously, the copper one weighs more, and it's made out of solid copper. But other than that, it's the same thing. One thing that they do add to the accessories, in addition to what you get with the regular S2, is so you've got this lanyard. People always ask what this little wire piece right here is for. Is to make it really easy to thread. So you just slide it right through the hole, and then you can pull it through really easy to thread instead of trying to cram that fabric through there. It's nice that they do that. But the other thing I had them include was a diffuser cone, because I really like their diffuser cones. I find them super, super useful. And we've got a diffuser cone in there that just slides onto the front of the light. Works really, really well, but I'll show you how that works when we go outside. It actually glows in the dark as well. It's a neat accessory. I'm glad they put that in there. You also have the user manual, so there's some good information in there. Talks about the specifications and how to use the light, basic information about it. And that's the stuff that's included with the light. So that is the S2-Cu. You get that nice gift packaging. Same thing with the i3E-Cu. So you get this nice gift packaging instead of just the standard blister packaging that you get with the i3Es. Alright, so here we are with the opened one. So this is the one I'm going to show you in the review, but we also have an unopened one just to show you they do come sealed in the packaging because these are raw copper. They will tarnish, and that's their big appeal to myself and a lot of other people. So here we have one of the S1-Cus, so one of the solid copper S1s, and you can kind of see this is what it can look like after not too long of a period. Copper will tarnish pretty quickly. I've seen some guys put some pretty interesting finishes on their copper products where they have taken like boiled eggs and stuck them in bags, and it develops this really, really unique look to it. And it kind of depends on how much you handle it, how much you sweat, if you clean it off or not. Everybody's lights are going to look different, and people love that, myself included. I like the weight. I like the way it looks. They look really, really cool. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put that back out of the way. So I haven't actually done a review on the regular i3E yet, the aluminum one. And when I do, it's not going to take me very long because it is a super simple light. It takes a single AAA battery. It only has one output. So you're at 90 lumens on the colored versions, and the black, and then the silver one is 120 lumens, and then the copper one is the 120 lumens as well. So it takes just a single AAA battery, and it comes with one. You can also throw like a Sanyo and a loop in there if you want to do that. But we're just going to take the included AAA battery and stick it in the light. And we'll use that to show you the operation and we go outside and everything. TIR optic in there. Nice feel to it. So obviously this one is also heavier than the aluminum one. It weighs like 3 times as much, but still you're only at an ounce or 2. So it's still a very lightweight thing. It's not really something you're going to notice on your keychain. And the operation on it is really simple. Tighten the head. That's it. There's your one output. No flashing modes, no programming, no additional outputs. Nothing except that one single output Really, really nice as a gift. It looks nice. It's really easy to use. No complicated modes. This is a very, very cool little light. And I normally don't mention price in my reviews because they kind of fluctuate, and that's not something I really like to focus on for most lights. But the i3E-Cu is 20 bucks. So if you go to other manufacturers and you see some of the other AAA lights on the market, there are a few others on the market, and they're mostly like 40, 50, 60 bucks. So this Olight i3E-Cu, really nice, very well made product. It's only 20 bucks out of solid copper. It's a really cool light, and it's a good value. You've also got a split ring there on the end, so some people ask if it can tail stand. It sort of can if you balance it really perfectly. You just don't want to bump it because it will fall over because you're balancing on that tiny little piece, and obviously you need a pretty flat surface. This thing is intended on as a keychain light for sure. I've seen some people already that have just cut that off or machined that off, so you can do that if you don't want to have that lanyard attachment point on there or the keychain attachment point. That's definitely an option. So that's pretty much all you get with the i3E-Cu. You don't really need a user manual. All you really need to know is that it takes a AAA battery and you tighten the head to turn it on. That's pretty much it. Some other basic specs they have here on the back. So you got the 120 lumens. On an alkaline, you're going to get 35 minutes of output. On a nickel metal hydride, you're going to get 60 minutes of output. 590 candela, 48 meters of beam distance. And as always, you can get the full specs on our site, goinggear.com. But there's not really much beyond what I just told and showed you. So here's the S2-Cu. So the S2-Cu is powered by a single 18650 battery or two CR123s. This one does not come with a battery. We talked about possibly including them with these, but we decided not to because a lot of people already have 18650s, and that's going to add to the cost. And a lot of people like different kinds of 18650s, different capacities. So we decided not to include it in with that, but we do have bundles on the site if you want to be able to get an 18650 and charger with it. So we're going to throw an Olight 18650 in there, take the tail cap off. Another thing I like about copper and brass lights is the way the threads feel. I know that's kind of a silly minor thing, but the way they wear and the way they feel just feels really nice. As opposed to titanium and some other metals, they get that kind of gritty, grimy feeling. Just super buttery smooth. Very nice operation. I know that's a silly thing, but if you're buying a solid copper light, those are the kinds of things you appreciate. So this battery tube that is in the light, this is if you want to use two CR123 batteries. You don't have to use this, but what this does is it holds the two CR123s in place. Since they are a smaller diameter than an 18650, it'll help keep them from rattling around in the battery tube, kind of hold them in place. You don't have to use it, but it's nice that they included that. Now, we've had some people ask us about the strength of the magnet that's there in the tail cap, and I was thinking it's going to be able to hang upside down. You're going to be able to pick up things with it and hang things off of it or pick up objects off the ground, but it actually works well enough, and it's strong enough where you can hang things horizontally off. Let me actually get my mic in the frame, and you can see, I probably have crap audio right now, but you can see it'll actually attach to surfaces horizontally. You want to have pretty much the whole thing in contact with the tail cap. If you only got like half of it or a little bit of it in contact, it's not going to hold all that well. But you put that whole thing on a nice flat surface and it holds on there. It's pretty surprising. I was expecting, because of the weight of this thing, it would just drop right off, but man, they put a chunker of a magnet in there. And people ask if you can take the magnet out. You can absolutely take the magnet out. It's really easy. In the tail cap, you can see you've got that triangle of a spring. You just pop that spring out, and then you can remove the magnet if you want to remove the magnet. So I've got an Olight 3400 milliamp hour 18650. I'm going to go ahead and slide it in. One thing to note is that the positive end actually goes towards the tail cap. So they've actually got a little engraving part on the light there. And we've got the positive part towards the tail cap, negative towards the head, opposite of how most of the lights we sell are. And we've got it tightened on there, so the battery's in there. It's ready to go. Press the switch to turn the light on. Press and hold. It'll cycle through your different outputs. You have a flashing mode in there as well. Triple click and it'll go into strobe, and then just press it again and it'll go off. You also can get straight to the max output and the lowest output from off. So the lowest output, which is like 0.5 lumens, really, really low output, great for up close kind of stuff, amazing battery life. Double click from off for the max output. So the max output on this is 950 lumens. I don't think I mentioned that before. 950 lumens on max output. You actually feel the heat coming off of it. And because it's copper, it manages that heat really, really well. So from off, you can get back into the last output you had it in. You can press and hold, and you can get straight into the lowest output. Triple click and get into the strobe. Double click to get into the max output. A lot of versatility in this light. I really, really like the Olight baton interface. I EDC an S1, and I've grown to really love the interface and the lights themselves. They're really well made, nice and compact, great output, lots of nice features. And I actually use that magnetic tail cap quite a bit. We have metal shelving in the store. It's kind of dimly lit in parts. You can just stick it up against a shelf, have some nice lighting. I use them around the house all the time. And I actually have a lamp right over there that has about 6 Baton series lights around the base of it that I've kind of gathered over the years. Magnets are really, really useful. I find it very useful. And like I said, you can take that out of there if you want to take it out of there. You also got a pocket clip on here. People ask us a lot if it's reversible. It is not. You can see there's not a machined area down here on the bottom to be able to reverse it. So the bezel is going to be up on this. There is a timer mode as well. So if you have the light turned on and you double click it, you'll see it flash like that. There's 2 different timer modes. I forget what they are. It's like 5 minutes and 10 minutes. Probably should read the user manual. But there's timer modes, so that'll automatically turn off. So you want to use it as like a night light, or you want to turn it off after a certain amount of time. You can do that. You can put the timer in there and have it turn off after a certain amount of time. Kind of an interesting feature. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's there if you ever happen to need it. Take a little bit closer look at the 2 lights side by side. Other than the material, they are very, very different lights. So you got the solid copper, and you got that nice feel. You got that tarnishing that you're going to get over time. But very different lights. Super simple on the i3E. You got that one output, the 120 lumens. Takes a single AAA battery. Obviously much, much smaller than the S2, even though the S2 isn't big at all. It's something you can easily slide in your pocket and not notice. You know, people talk about the weight, but the weight's really not bad. With the battery in there, it's not uncomfortable at all. It's something you can slide in your pocket and not have your pants fall off you or anything like that. But it definitely is larger and weighs more than the i3E. But you get a lot more versatility also. So you get the different outputs. You get the longer runtime because of that AT650. You get the much higher output. A lot of people we've been seeing have been ordering both, and that's always an option. Actually, people have been ordering like 4 or 5 of these and then 1 or 2 of these. And it seems like they're giving these out to their buddies or putting them on all their keychains, and they're keeping this one for themselves. Whatever you want to do, we are happy to accommodate. So let me show you the interface again on both of these. So you just tighten the head on the i3E-Cu, turns the light on. On the S2-Cu, press the switch, it'll turn the light on. Press and hold, it'll cycle through your different outputs. Triple click from on or off for strobe. Press and hold from off to get into the lowest output. And one thing I actually didn't mention about that before is no longer how long you press and hold, it'll actually stay in that low output. So I'm still pressing and holding, and you can see it's still staying in that same output, which I like a lot. Some of the other lights on the market, you know, use kind of similar interfaces. You do the press and hold, and after a half second or a second, it starts ramping up. Well, they don't turn on immediately, a lot of them. So you got to kind of play this game where you don't blind yourself when it ramps up to the higher output when you're not trying to blind yourself. So I like that you can press and hold, and no matter what, it's always going to stay in that lowest output. And then also the double click from off, and it'll go straight into the max output. All right, so that's the interface of the i3E-Cu and the S2-Cu. Showed you all the features, talked about the copper and all that. Like I said, you can get a bundle on our site with the batteries and the charger. You get the battery with the i3E. Let's go and take both of these outside, and we'll show you how they do outside. All right, we're outside with those 2 copper lights. Got the big 40 mag light that I always use as a control since everybody knows what it can do. Let's try out that mag light first. Bush right there is 30 feet away. Dock house down there on the lake is 100 feet. There is the mag light. Let's try out the i3E-Cu first. One single output. So just twist that head and you got your 120 lumens. But man, look at that. 30 feet away, it's lighting up that bush really well. And even 100 feet away down there on the dock house. You know, you're not going to get any incredible distance out of this thing, but we'll zoom in just so you can see. It's lit up pretty well down there. Not bad for a tiny little AAA light you can throw in your pocket, throw in your keychain, and not even really notice. So there's your single output of the i3E-Cu. Let's show you the S2-Cu. Obviously a whole lot more lumens coming out of this thing. Shine it back and forth. So there you got the tree right there, dock house down there on the lake. Let's zoom in on that. You can see you got that nice big hot spot. So it's lighting up a whole lot at once, not just the dock house, but the hot spot alone. If you want to really call it a hot spot, since it's got an optic, not really a whole lot of spill. It's pretty much a smooth, clean, even beam throughout. But it's really nice and wide. Lights up a whole lot at once and lights it all up really well. Let me show you the lower outputs as well. We'll cycle through those. You got that moonlight mode, great for up close kind of stuff. Really good battery life on that. And then quick access to that max output. Great interface on these. I've been EDCing a baton for quite a while now, and the copper versions of these, I love them. I love the copper. Really cool material. Let me show you them side by side. So we'll have the i3E-Cu, got it on the left, S2-Cu on the right. We'll go back and forth. I'm actually having to shine the S2-Cu at the ground because it kind of washes out the i3E-Cu. But that's to be expected. You know, it's obviously a much, much larger light. Got that big 18650 battery, so you can quickly see the difference that you get between the two. So I came down off the porch to show you the diffuser cone. So I've got it on the light. Obviously I just used it and it's lit up a decent amount, but let's turn the light on itself and we'll let it show the different outputs. So there is your moonlight. With such a low amount of lumens, it's not really going to light up a wide area at once with the diffuser cone on there, just because it's so spread out. But if you need a tiny amount of light for a really small area, I suppose it would do, but the higher outputs are where the cone does really well. So there it is on the max output. Let me actually put it off camera a little bit just so you can see how well it lights up an area. So I mean, it's not going to light up things, you know, hundreds of yards away or anything like that, but it lights up your immediate surroundings for probably a good 20-30 feet really, really well. So let me show you the other outputs. We'll just cycle through them. So there's the low. You can see the ground in front of me. I'd say I could probably see for 3 or 4 feet around me pretty well. And then there is the next level. Get a little bit better illumination. Tree right there is about 10 feet away. And there's the next level. Everything's even better. And then, oops, went a little too far. There's your max output where everything is lit up really, really well for a good distance around you. I find the diffuser cone super, super useful. You know, a lot of people ask us about lanterns, and I always say, get a decent light, get a decent diffuser cone, and I think you have a much more versatile solution compared to getting just a lantern, and a more compact solution. Obviously, you're not going to get the battery life that you're going to get running a big 4D lantern or something like that, but I think you get a more versatile, more compact option, which is good, especially where size and weight are a concern. For a home, bug out, you know, kind of situation where you're not really caring about the size and the weight, then yeah, get one of those big lanterns that'll run for 30 days. For everything else, get a light, get a diffuser cone. Let me turn it off just so you can see the glow. You know, obviously it's not going to last forever because, you know, it's going to get dimmer over time, but the glow itself lights up a little bit around it. So it's really easy to see the diffuser cone itself. Obviously, if you drop the light, you can see the diffuser itself better and where your light is, but also it'll light up a small area around you, which is pretty useful. I'm actually going to walk down to the lake just so you can see what it looks like when you're walking around. So I have it on the high setting and it's just by my side. But you can see when you're walking along, you know, you don't have the directional light obviously, but you have your path lit up, you know what's going on in front of you, what's behind you, a really loud waterfall down there making a whole bunch of noise. But there you go, that's the diffuser cone. I find them super, super useful. And the nice thing about the S2-Cu is that it comes with it. All right, got some more space to show you the i3E-Cu and S2-Cu. I know the i3-Cu isn't gonna do a whole lot at these kind of distances, but for the sake of consistency, I wanted to show it to you. Tree right there is about 20 feet away. Got a couple targets set up out there at 50 yards and 100 yards. And I'm honestly kind of surprised it actually makes it out there to the 50-yard one pretty well. I don't know how well it shows up on the viewfinder, but the 50-yard one, the lighter parts of it, I can see pretty well. It's right about there. And these signs, the white signs, are at about 65 yards beyond the 50-yard target. And those are lit up pretty well. Obviously, they're a lighter color. They're kind of dark colors on the target. There's some old, spooky Halloween things that I got at Big Lots years and years ago. All right, let's try out the S2-Cu. That'll do much better at a distance. So there's the tree, and then there's the targets out there. You can see them better with the S2-Cu, obviously. So there is the 50 yards, there's the 100 yards, and the tree line beyond is at 130 yards. You can see the signs as well. So again, the signs are at about 65 yards and the 50 yards on that first target, and it makes it all out to all of that pretty well. But a larger light, it is more expensive, it is heavier, but still not bad. It's something that you can definitely put in your pocket, and you're not really going to notice it. Put it in the corner of your pocket. It does have some more weight compared to the regular S2, but not anything that's super cumbersome. It's not going to rip your pants off when you put it in your pocket like some people seem to be afraid of, because they know how much more copper weighs compared to aluminum, but it's still a very, very reasonable weight. And you get the look. I really like the look. I like the feel. I like the way it tarnishes. I like copper. I really like copper, and we're going to keep on working on getting some more stuff like this for you, so we can offer you more copper and brass and interesting material products. All right, so there you go. That is the Olight i3E-Cu and the S2-Cu. We'll actually do them side by side. So there's the i3E, and here's the S2. Again, kind of gets washed out, but massive size difference, obviously. If you like either of them, you can get them from me at goinggear.com. Any questions or comments, you can reach me in the comments or any of my guys at goinggear.com. As always, get going and start something. Thanks for watching.